He's gonna...
Oh, thank God.
How'd I do?
You killed her, so I think you did quite well, thank you.
That was not fun. I was freaking out.
I imagine you were.
You should see my heartbeat. I can like feel my chest like moving.
So, see, you just proved yourself to be totally hardcore, man.
Everything is nothing would be great when you did it. I'll do a lot.
I'm at 16. I need, let's see, what? 17, 18. 18 is 14. 19 more. Or 9 more, I'm sorry. 9 more charges before it's ready.
I can't believe I did that.
Why?
I didn't think I could do it.
Oh, I thought you could. See, see, just running around and kiting this stuff is just a really difficult skill for me to develop.
Yeah. Leap of faith really helps considering you can fly past everything. The problem was if you got close to me, I would die, and I'm like, run.
I could probably use abundance step, but even then, it's like it's on a separate bar, and I don't know. I would have to really figure it out to make it work. Okay, everything nothing is ready, just in case something jumps out.
Alright, okay, I'm supposed to by a lot, so I gotta probably take a shower and go to bed and get ready for school, but it was pretty great. I mean, I'm pretty happy with what we did.
Yeah, I thought you did really well getting through here. Like I said, you're the one who killed her. I was the one who's standing back, just being like, yeah, I'm the helpless little damsel in distress right now.
Oh, well, you were mostly put actually all the way up to the floor.
Yeah, but I died when it mattered, so you did pretty good.
Okay. Alright, let's go.
Alright, so you're gonna be recalling out?
Yeah, I'm recalling.
I'm gonna see if I can explore a little bit more before cutting off the video. I'm actually really happy to see that we actually got both of the both of the red names that we need for flagging. That was actually really good. Like I said, you did a great job, and thanks for running with me.
Yeah, no problem. I really enjoyed it. I could help. I'm surprised I was able to do that.
I'm not. You're a lot tougher than you give yourself credit for.
I'm good for healing.
Yeah, I know, but they do have tricks up their sleeves that really help. Like divine punishment.
Yeah, the set I'm gonna try to get once I get that sword and that shield that I want. It'll take my healing ability and my aptitude considering it up a lot, but it'll take my light damage down. My light damage right now just happens to be with the gear I have, but just the healing happens to give a lot of light damage to, so I think that was good.
Oh wow, I guess he was only incapped? I thought he was dead. I was like, where's his soul stone, dude? That's funny. Alright, well thanks again for joining me on this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I had 3K phones. I use them both. I definitely know this work, but sometimes I use them to do like that. So I thought I would do that. But, I mean, it was definitely a good time.
Yeah. See, you never underestimate the power of healers. They have a lot of good stuff up their sleeves. Like, self-healing.
They were down some far, but with, between if you were on me and I had to go and I about as fast as you were going, but the problem was that you were off and it took me to have to take a healing with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, take care. Have a good night.
Alright, see ya.
Alrighty, so it looks like it's just me now from here on. I don't think there's too much left to explore because we just came across the raid entrance here, and but I want to find the rest of the scrolls so that way I can clear the fog of war from my map. And I remember that there was actually an area we never really did get to explore before we came down here the first time through. There's this cave system I was really curious about, so I want to see what that's about. So assuming I can actually make it there and survive on my own without any real heals other than what I can give myself, then we're going to try to go there. He was like somewhere up here. Well, there is a lot of like stuff up and around. One downside to having to fight with Celestia in my hand is the fact that I can't use Stunning Fist. I can still use Kukondo, but I'm really barred from using Stunning Fist. But I would rather fight this way and have my heal scroll ready than get on my regular wraps and not be able to get to my heal scroll in time. So, you know, yeah, it's kind of just one of those things that decisions you gotta make, those give and take decisions you gotta make when you do stuff like this. I do hate the fact that I'm always forced to sacrifice one thing in order to gain something else, but yeah, I know that's also part of the game too, so. But hey, at least I can use Celestia at all. I didn't even know you can have an offhand weapon, a weapon in the offhand until, I'm still pressing the F button when I talk, aren't I? That's just, I didn't realize that would become habit so quickly. I don't need to press the F button anymore because it's just me and you should be able to pick up my voice as is right now. But as I was saying is I didn't even know I can have anything in my offhand when I have either my shuriken or my or a heal scroll in my hand. I found that out after watching that same video I had mentioned earlier where I could the one that allowed me to that showed me that with the shuriken thrower. Yeah, I can speak eventually. That video about the shuriken thrower, I saw that and I noticed, hey, he's got Celestia, and well, it looked like Celestia in his offhand, and from the effects, I think it really was. And I couldn't figure out why until I realized, hey, some of the effects from Celestia is going off. So apparently, you know, if you have a weapon in the offhand, like Celestia, you can still get glancing blows and stuff and trigger the effects, even if you're like ranging or something. So that's not a bad deal. my husband says it's kind of like, as long as you have the 2-up and fighting feat, it's something you should be able to do. But yeah, so I found that out, and so I realized, yeah, I can give at least a little bit of oomph to my dinky shuriken ranging abilities, so. And then I realized, oh, I can hold it in my offhand when I have the scroll, because I've always figured there were going to be times, especially when I'm soloing, where I'm going to sit there and need to, and I would need to fight with a scroll in my hand. Of course, the only problem was, of course, the fact that, well, they don't really hit very much with a scroll in my hand, but having Celestia on the other hand helps a lot with that particular issue, too.
Hello, user. Hey, it's a file Douglas downstairs. Good evening.
You want to get on with Mirror Invasion?
I've kind of already done all my mirror invasions.
Okay, so that is one I already got before. Alright, let's see if I can actually find my way up. I don't think I can actually go up from here. This is the raid entrance. And I'm still pressing that damn death button. I don't think that's gonna go away now.
No problem. I did it before I was going to go to Battle Zone Arcade.
Yeah, it's just, I'm not very good at multitasking, but I am very good at creating muscle memory. And after having been pressing the F button all this time, my finger's just doing it automatically at this point now. So it's just that's going to be a habit I'm going to have to learn to break. I am actually going to figure out how to set it up so I can have the hands-free effect taking place, because that will make things a lot easier, especially when I am fighting and trying to talk and whatnot at the same time. But I think it was a pretty good run. I mean, we found out just how big this place is. I mean, there's a lot of stuff up above, and then there's just so much down here. I mean, as you can see, I mean, we didn't really... I mean, we rushed coming down here to get to the bitch. That's my name for her for now, because she's a bitch. So we rushed to get to her, because I know he wanted to get her partly for flagging for the raid, and I know partly when he saw us go down in a previous video, he was like, I must help my friend get revenge. And, I can't blame him for having that kind of sentiment. Lord knows I knew I wanted revenge. I'd actually been kind of holding off on redoing this area simply because of the fact that, after that beatdown, I knew I was going to have to rethink how I approach it. So that's kind of why I held off, but he wanted to see what the new area was like, and, I figured, hey, if he thinks he can hack it, why not, right?
But then I realized the horrible realization I'd have to read Pride and Prejudice.
So he did really well. I mean, he didn't have much confidence that he would be all that particularly useful, but he's a better player than he gives himself credit for, and the same goes for my husband and my friend JD. I mean, they really don't think they're all that good and whatnot, and I know sometimes they tend to get caught up in defining themselves by the number of kills that go on in the dungeon, and I keep telling them, that really isn't an indication of how good you are at the game. It really isn't. Especially depending on what role you're trying to play. I mean, as you saw, I may be good at clearing the trash, but when it came to that big boss, I went down quick. It was all about my healer friend from then on, because he had the abilities needed to be able to handle it, while I didn't. So yeah, it's kills are rarely an indication of just how good your tune is. Unless, of course, you designed your tune to be nothing but DPS, I suppose. Alright, so I know I didn't really kind of look around this place very much. Well, we did kind of give it a thorough look-see during the first run through, and I know we kind of ran around a lot during the second one because we were looking for that damn chest. But I think it's good to check just to make sure I didn't miss any scrolls. And then I'm going to go into that cave system a couple of levels up. Because that's really the one place that's left really unexplored. Because, like I said, I think we pretty much kind of explored the lower areas fairly thoroughly in the first video.
We actually, I think, have a fairly decent science contingent here.
You might actually hear some talking and speech and whatnot in the background once again. My husband's got some stuff going on. He's got TeamSpeak going and he's playing Star Trek Online. So you might hear some of that filtering through the microphone. I'm not sure how well it picks stuff up. I'm hoping you don't really hear too much of it. I was actually really worried when my husband was watching Batman Beyond earlier because the last time I tried to upload my video, I got a warning that there was some kind of copyright infringement because it picked up something in the audio track. It turned out to be bogus because there wasn't anything when I played it. I guess it just kind of misidentified something. But the last thing I want is for them to pick up that sound from Batman Beyond and to flag it and to have Warner Brothers get on my back and make me remove the sound of the video just because you can hear it playing in the background, especially when that's just background noise going on and the main focus of the video is what's going on here on the screen, is the exploration of this place.
Oh yeah, hi there.
Okay, I already got that one.
Hope you like
So
the lights that I dropped right on
so I'm just kind of really hoping that a lot of that doesn't get picked up, or if it does pick it up, it's so faint you can't hear it. I'm thinking probably not going to be picked up that easily because I remember that when my husband and my friend had a tendency to talk without using the party chat, their voices were very, very difficult to hear. At least during the parts that I watched. Like I said, I don't really watch the whole video, but yeah, like I said, I just don't want Warner Brothers to get on my back about that because that really wasn't what the video was about. I have no control over what's going on in the background. You know, my husband's gonna do what he's gonna do while I'm doing this, and you know, we don't, you know, our space is small, so it's not like I can just do this elsewhere. Okay. Looks like I'm running in circles. I've noted before my sense of direction isn't the best. So, yeah, my sense of direction isn't so hot, so you'll see me run around in circles just trying to make sure that I'm going the right way, and it looks like I went everywhere I could on that level, so I'm gonna kind of look around here and discover that there are things to kill.
Well, don't bother coming to trying to assist me now.
Oh, they gotcha.
I hope I don't have to switch to my scroll. I really do hate having my DPS crippled any more than it already is. I've mentioned before, my character isn't really a big on DPS as far as her build goes, so you know, what DPS I can get, I tend to really kind of want to preserve, which is why it's like right now my current gear setup right now, as you can see, I am wearing right now my current gear setup, I'm wearing a green steel necklace that boosts my charisma skills, which helps with my EMD, and it also gives me spell points, which I use for rejuvenation cocoon. Normally I would actually be running around with this item, the pendant of the Stormweaver, which also adds to my DPS, but because of the Thunderstruck ability, but because I have to have the next slot used. Oh, damn. He didn't really come out of nowhere. But because I have to use up my next slot, I can't quite use it. And there is a ring that does something similar to the pendant of the Stormweaver. It's called the Skirmisher's Ring, and it's something that you get as a standard end reward if you do the quest What Goes Up. And I do plan on picking it up, but until I get a new green steel helmet made, I won't be able to use a ring, because right now, okay, so I already got this one.
And there I go again.
Ready to do normal or
I'm gonna go over my day.
We have to ring
Okay, so here's the thing, in order to do a lot of the high level stuff, especially if you are going to do Epic Elite, whether or not you're going solo or with a party, there are 3 things you really want to make sure you have. The trifecta of protection, as it were, and that is dodge, concealment, and incorporeality. Incorporeality, yeah, that's not going to be difficult to pronounce. And so if you have to get those numbers high enough, because you don't want these guys to touch you. I've mentioned several times that they hit hard. Many of them can hit you, touch you once, and you're dead. Insta-kill. And so by making sure that you're difficult to touch in the first place, you keep yourself extra protected. My dodge I keep on my boots. I'm incorporeal with my ghost touch, with my ghostly ring. It's the ring of the stalker right here. That provides me my ghostly. And my blur normally is applied by this particular trinket, Guidance of Shar. But if I'm relying on anything that uses UMD, as I mentioned earlier, I'm using this Epic Treasure Hunter Spyglass. So that means I have only a few other slots for me to get my blur from, for the concealability. So right now I'm using my Ring of Shadows for it. If I had to use something else on my ring slot, though, then I would have to use one of my Epic Fairlane Mirror Cloak for the blurry. Now that puts me in a bit of a problem. This is why I'm trying to get a new green steel helmet, one with smoke screen on it, which provides the blurry effect as well. Because if I have to use, like, say, this cloak in a different kind of ring, then that means another aspect of survivability in epics, whether solo or not, is something called fortification. And you really want to make sure, I mean, the rule of thumb that I found, and I found seems to work, that any creature twice your level, like if I find a creature that's like level 50, then I should have, and I'm level 28, so 50 minus 28, the remainder should be how much over 100% fortification you have. Fortification is there to protect you from suffering critical damage. And so, so if they score a critical hit, if you have enough fortification, that negates it. And that's very important, because if they score those critical hits, you think they're already hitting you hard, they're going to hit you even harder with those critical hits. So right now, as I showed, right now I have 190% fortification, and that is done, and I think I mentioned it, partly through a twist here called Brace for Impact that gives me plus 40% fortification. And then I wear these boots. I found these in the broker bin, and I was surprised, and I took them. They supply my dodge and my fortification, so it's 125% plus the 40%. That's 165% fortification. And right now, I'm currently wearing this cloak, fortifying 25% cloak, and so that's what's bringing my fortification up high enough, so that way I at least have some kind of chance of surviving being touched when I'm on Epic Elites. I'm wearing it right now, partly to get used to wearing it, because like I said, I'm trying to prepare myself for making a real go at soloing Epic Elite content. But the other part is because, as we've seen, even in the wilderness area here, these monsters can hit hard. So I'm sitting here thinking, I haven't actually really been looking at the CR rating, the challenge rating of these mobs, but I'm thinking, it's like, well, if they can hit this hard, then I want to make sure I've got as much fortification as possible, because the last thing I want is to stumble across something that requires me to have something like 190% fortification and to die because of it. So that's why I'm wearing it. And like I said, the biggest challenge I've been finding with this, looks like I've been everywhere up top. I've been running in circles, so I've been everywhere up top. Where did I come from? Oh. Okay, let's see. I think that was a way to the market area, wasn't it? I don't know. Okay, yeah, that's the way to the market area. I can see my friend's ethereal restaurant sitting there. So, yeah, I'm trying to put all these little different layers of protection on me, and it's really hard. It's actually why I was really annoyed. At one point, they took away the fortifying prefix, and so the cloak I have is actually something you can't find in random treasure anymore right now currently, but the devs did say that they were thinking of bringing it back, and if they actually do plan on making creatures this tough even on just a regular run through, I think they should, because like as a monk I can't really bring my fortification up that much higher than it already is. So I need something like a fortifying item. Right now they've put out a few new stuff, like shadow scale armor, I believe it's called, and it's supposed to be like cat's meow. But I've looked at it, and as good as it is, I rely on so much on what I get out of my spider spun and my sensible bracers, just from these two items alone, that by replacing it, I have to be able to find a way to get back a lot of the things that I get off of here. And the item shuffling is just so difficult and is such a pain to figure out, and in many ways just impossible, that I would rather keep with this than with something else that provide me extra fortification to survive, but that's all I'm gonna do is survive, and probably just barely, because now my monk skills have been reduced that much more. So that's why I'm thinking. I really hope the devs do come through on their promise and bring us trying to find a way back and bring us the and bring us back the fortifying items, because there are some builds and some gear setups and whatnot, some play styles in which we really do need to have those extra items. So now I'm still trying to find my way out of here, and this is, damn it, I hate having such a horrible sense of direction. Even with my map, I can't even tell where I came from. Oh wait, hold on. Maybe I can. Yeah, so I'm trying to go back to that one cave area that we skipped over that first time through.
Finished off, I'm gonna head over to caves.
Oh, okay, there it is. I think this is where we came from, yeah. This is it. Yeah, I'm sorry once again that you have to sit there and watch me run around. Like I said, my sense of direction isn't exactly the best. Try. Alright, so I'm gonna come back out through here. I'm gonna explore the cave systems, and I'm probably gonna climb back up a little bit more in the hopes I find a rare that we might have overlooked in our rush to get down here. Because I remember we found a few spots where we were like, what's this? You know, and we kind of figured, well, maybe this is where a rare spawns, because it's just like, you know, those little hidden alcoves that just tend to scream, this is where a rare likes to hang out. Alright, I'm going to take a break for a few minutes because I have to go use the bathroom again. I'll be right back.
While I'm here, I'm gonna fill up duty officers for the last embassy.
I didn't save any dilithium for that.
Oh, it's okay. I got some kicking around. And if we do a fleet alert later, that'll be enough to top that off.
Awesome.
Because it's got a couple hundred in it already.
Yeah, I
Alright.
put that there.
Okay, cool. Well, blue duty officer
I
boxes
just
are
put my dilithium in the recovery after it cooks.
well, it'll all pay off in the end. Open these guys up.
That is what we wanted to work on next, right? You didn't like have your heart set on the embassy upgrade or anything?
Oh no. I'd like to do the embassy eventually, but I think we want to get at least 2 of the Fed base upgrades done so that we can get a decent rotation of non-dilithium dailies up.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Alright, I'm back.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
So, yeah, while I'm here, I think I should check to see if I have enough to make
I might reconsider.
my dragon killer. I want to make myself a new shuriken because
Okay.
I've been playing around in epic normal haunted halls. I just came from here, didn't I? Yeah, that's where I came from. I was playing around on epic normal haunted halls during the commentary version of it, just to see what it was like before I really started recording. And also, again, kind of practice for the idea of doing epic elites. And in it, and you'll see in a bit, there is a white dragon, and even on epic normal, she's incredibly difficult to beat down. I can do it, but it takes me like 15 to 30 minutes just to beat her down because, as I've mentioned before, my DPS isn't actually the greatest in the world. She's built for survivability more than anything else, which she did. I mean, she was able to survive it, and just literally just whittling down this dragon little by little as as I kept using my scrolls and whatnot to heal me and everything, and yeah, I beat her eventually. I mean, she'll die, but it takes me a while to do it. So I'm sitting here thinking, well, if I'm really going to try this on Epic Elite, this isn't going to work because I don't think I'll be able to survive that long. I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to find a way to try to hit a little bit harder so that way I don't have to survive as long. And since I'm using largely ranging in my Grandmaster of Flowers abilities, then I want to be able to pump those up. So I'm getting a tell here for a moment, so I'm going to reply back.
Every time you guys release something, we get behind, and it's just screwing little fleets. I like to look at that and say, our little fleet's not too bad this week.
Yeah, we make like the blue progress and the other things every time, and then we max out the
Alright, so yeah, so if I'm gonna have to, and as I said before, I hate the idea that I have to rely on ranging so much because I'm not really built for range. And in all honesty, as I mentioned time and again, I am not a very good multitasker. It's very, very difficult. I do have a learning disability that makes me process things a little bit more slowly than other people, and because of this, multitasking is very difficult. Muscle memory is one thing, but multitasking is something different, and it's something that I found that's been very, very difficult for me to do. And that's really what a lot of ranging is. You have to be able to run away, range. You have to keep track of so much, and so much more than muscle memory, that it's a very difficult mode for me to play in. So I really don't like that I'm kind of being forced to do ranging if this is something I want to do. I don't know, but something not healthy, yeah, cute.
Well, I'm on KDF if anybody's forming a team.
So let's see. Okay, this is one I've already gotten. So yeah, and then basically one of my biggest complaints and issues that I have with the way they've designed a lot of these, and I do understand that they want, Dungeons & Dragons Online is meant to be a social game. It's like, well, yeah, you can do things solo, but why would you want to? Part of the fun is in with grouping with others. Yeah, sometimes you just kind of want to let off some steam if you've had a bad day and you just don't want to talk to people or whatnot. But other times, like I said, it's just sometimes I just like the challenge of being able to know that I can do a lot of the stuff, especially as a First Life build, a First Life 32-point build. A lot of people do a lot of TRing and whatnot, and then there's so many of these super builds out that start off with, first you have to have so many different path lives, and and be like, well, you don't have to do all of that just to be a badass, and you don't have to multi-class to be a badass. You can be a pure and to be a badass. You don't have to be all about the DPS to be a badass. I've been told many times that, your offense is really bad, and, that's just not going to take you anywhere because, especially on Epic Elites, you're not going to win by attrition, but, that seems to be just my particular play style, and I'd like to show that I can do it. Um, yeah, my friend is replying how that red name we had beat down, the one that eventually that Nehru had successfully beat down, because I shouldn't even say we, I didn't have any part in that. The one that Nehru beat down, yeah, her attacks don't have any kind of saves, which is stupid, especially since they're elemental attacks. That's the bread and butter of high reflex and evasion builds. That's just like right up their alley, and to give no saves at all, and to have it set up so you can't even touch her or get close to her. It's very closely related to how they've designed their epic elite quest. And it's like I don't, it's one thing to set things up so you have to adopt a particular strategy to kill things, like having to take down pillars or whatnot, like in Study in Sable, where you have to take down these pillars to let in the sunlight to weaken the vampire and everything before you can actually really kill him. Things like that makes sense, but to really make it so that a particular build type finds it practically impossible to get to that monster, that shouldn't be. I mean, you should be able to have some way of approaching it that can work for a variety of builds and playstyle. Well, that's the way I see it anyhow. I'm sure that there are others who feel differently. But for me, I think good game design would be one that is challenging if you really think about it, but that can actually be solved if you think about it and go about it the right way, rather than catering to a particular build or play style.
Oh, you want to join us then too? Then we can really make it a priority.
That's true. That would be fun.
Sure, I'll do it. Let me hop on the Wii. I know he's Wii, but...
So yeah, that's I think that's something that Turbine does need to work on.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, that's one I already got. So I do believe that's something Turbine should actually be keeping in mind more. There's more to building a challenge than just an all-out fight. One of the bigger trends that I've been seeing that I found a little disappointing. Oh, hey, look, I found a trap with my face. One of the big trends that I've been finding more than a little disappointing is the fact that to make these high-level quests more challenging, they give us more mobs, and more of these mobs have bigger hit points and everything like that. And I'm like, again, there are probably other ways to solve this problem without having to go that route, because that just seems more like an easy way out rather than a more thoughtful way of approaching making a quest a challenging quest. Like I said, there are so many things. They had this thing where they wanted to emphasize skills. Sorry, replying back to the tell. And there are so many different ways. Like I said, they had this big old thing where they wanted to emphasize skills a bit more, so they changed the way skills operate in the game. And then in the same breath, they decided that they wanted to make it so that a particular ability can't detect secret doors anymore, because they wanted you to have a rogue in the game and whatnot to find it. Well, that's not what they said. They said the devs were feeling like, what's the point of having secret doors if everyone could detect them? So nerf detect secret doors, nerf true seeing, so that you can't detect secret doors above a certain difficulty challenge. But my thoughts on that were, well, if you really want to emphasize skills and stuff, why not have doors that you can detect with the secret door thing, but in order to actually open them, and it's something you will see on a lot of the lower level quests. In order to open something, in order to access something, you would have to have a certain level in one of the stats, like high intelligence or high strength or high whatnot. And so that way, it actually still, rather than taking something away, you're adding to it and making people more conscious about how they make their builds and who they run with, and how to make their party more balanced and things like that, rather than just, oh, we're just going to take it away. So again, it just comes down to, there are better ways to solve a problem than taking things away, or just by giving you more things to kill and swamping you. I mean, there are more ways to go about it than that. And and that's basically just the stance that I take. Like I said, there are probably a good number of people who disagree, they've got different play styles, different philosophies and whatnot, and I say to that, fair enough. Oh man, Thunderforged hand wraps. Oh, I need to have the shuriken first. I'll go for the shuriken because that's what I'm trying to do. So I'll get the Thunderforged shuriken first. Okay. I'm just kind of staring at it going, God, I want the hand wraps. But since I am trying to cater to the idea of, okay, I'll try to do a little bit more ranging. I need more ranging power. Grandmaster Flowers is pretty decent. I've actually been experimenting on Epic Elite levels, different ways that I can approach Epic Elite, and I've been experimenting with different destinies and stuff, and I found that ultimately, because the way I play is I'm making myself dependent. The way I found is, like, resources are very, very scarce in these quests, and because of that scarcity, I need to be able to rely on my strengths rather than my weaknesses. And one of my strengths here is I do have a resource that's kind of endless. I mean, especially when I am in Grandmaster Flowers, and that's Ki. And I do have a way as a light path monk to heal myself with Ki. Now, it's not perfect because it takes some time to build up to that healing finisher. But I do have a way to do that. In order to take advantage of that, I have to be able to I have to have the things that let me do that. Like this ability right here, it's a core ability in Grandmaster Flowers, so it's not like I can twist it into another destiny, called Inner Focus. And this is what lets me build up Ki really quick. It's like if I'm really low in Ki and I need Ki right now, I turn that on, and that is what gets me more Ki when I really need it. And so I found out, it's like, okay, if I'm going to be setting myself up so that I rely on these resources, on these particular resources, then I do need to be in the destiny that lets me take the best advantage of those resources. Here it is. Here's that cave area that you were supposed to explore. I just kind of want to make sure I didn't miss any squirrels through here, although I'm fairly sure at this point that we actually did kind of go through everything that we could go through there. So I'm going to go through here, because this is where I really want to be. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of experimenting, trying to figure things out, and as I said, I figured out that right now, the best destiny for me to be in, simply because of the way I play and whatnot, and how I feel that I want to balance my resources out, Grandmaster Flowers for me is the best destiny to be in, because that way for healing I can actually and so it was I kind of lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I wanted, since I wanted to depend on my healing key in order to keep me alive, I needed to be in a destiny that would take advantage of that. There's only one real destiny that came close to really helping me survive very well in Epic Elites, and that was actually Unyielding Sentinel. And it was very good, but again, it was just like, it's almost there, but for the way I play and the way I take advantage of what's available to me, I think I need to be, excuse me, in Grandmaster of Flowers, because I don't think I'm getting enough out of the other destinies for the way I play and for the way I try to go about my approach to figuring out how to survive prolonged periods in an Epic Elite quest. So, because I was reliant on my key, I'm in Grandmaster of Flowers. It's not bad. I know it gets a lot of flack. I mean, people say, oh, the DPS isn't that great, and I think the DPS is pretty decent. It's probably not as flashy as something you'll get from like Legendary Dreadnought if you're built towards using the things that Legendary Dreadnought gives you. But I found it to be fairly serviceable, and I do actually. Oh, I thought this was water. I hope there's a way back up, because I thought this was water. Crap. Anyhow, so it's not nothing as flashy as something like Legendary Dreadnought or whatnot, but it does seem to complement my particular play style well enough that it suits me very well, and I do use it like on Epic Elites because of the fact that, as I mentioned, I can't touch anything, and the Grandmaster Flowers ability, I like to call it Flower Power for short, or because I find it a lot easier to say than Grandmaster Flowers all the time. I like to call it Flower Power because I think it's just like a cute play on words and whatnot, but yeah, Flower Power actually does give me some ranging options. The first one you get is Lily Petal, and then the next one is Orchid Blossom. I believe that's, yeah, Orchid Blossom. That's another ranging ability. If you have a lot of things gathered in front of you, there's Drifting Lotus, and, if they fail a save, they can get knocked down, which gives you a little bit of a reprieve. At the very least, it gives you some kind of area of effect damage going on, which is very helpful all on its own. And of course there's Everything is Nothing, so it's like if you can have that built up and you're facing all of these huge mobs in the dungeon, then you can always activate it to clear the area out and give yourself a bit of reprieve. And that's if you have wisdom high enough to be able to pull that off. And that's actually why I never really built myself. You'll notice that I use, instead of power attack and cleave and great cleave, I actually use something called whirlwind attack. And in order to get the whirlwind attack feat, you have to have dodge, mobility, spring attack, and combat expertise first in order to get those, as well as an intelligence of 13 in order to get combat expertise. And most people don't like to go that route because they feel the feat requirements are just too much. Even people who play monks, they feel the feat requirements are too much. But the other route that people tend to favor is the power attack, cleave, great cleave, and overwhelming critical attack. And in order to get that overwhelming critical, I would have to actually sacrifice either my ability to make reflex saves, which, as I mentioned before, is like the bread and butter of the monk, and a few other different classes, like the rogue class and whatnot. I'd either have to sacrifice that, or even worse, I have to sacrifice my wisdom in order to get that. And because I do use my wisdom extensively as a monk, I thought, you know what? No, that's too much of a high cost. There are other ways for me to get some bigger damage in, and I did find that. I found that the chain of feats needed for whirlwind attack was actually very perfect for my needs, because dodge, mobility, and sprint attack actually add more to my dodge bonus. So they add to my dodge bonus. Combat expertise helps give me a little bit more AC. A lot of monks seem to have trouble getting their AC very high, but I've been able to get mine to like around 92 when I'm in wind stance. I can get it over 100 when I'm in earth stance, and it seems to really help me out. So it gets my armor class up, so that's useful to me. And of course, the whirlwind attack gives a +4 weapon damage. So to your damage die roll. So it seems to be all around just the right fit for me. And it lets me emphasize my wisdom, so that way I can have things like everything is nothing go off properly. So, yeah, and I've had people question my build, and I've said before, it's like, well, I know, it's not what people would actually prefer. I tried actually on a friend's recommendation, trying to use a more strength-based build over a dex-based build, but I did notice that my ability to make reflex saves were not as good, and I didn't like it very much, because of the fact that, as a monk player, I've come to rely, especially on the early levels and whatnot, I quickly learned that my reflex saves were my bread and butter to survival. My reflex saves, my ability to evade, they're just such a part of the way I've learned to use my character that I really couldn't bring myself to sacrifice it. I really didn't like it. My friend's like, well, you've got evasion and improved evasion and whatnot, and I'm like, well, yeah, but it's not enough. I mean, as you've seen when what's her face hit me with whatever it was. And so, as you can see, like, I there's still instances in which, if you don't have that reflex save, well, not that gave you a save anyways for that one, which I think I call hacks on that. But if you don't have that reflex save to defend you, sometimes when you get hit, even improved evasion isn't enough to keep you from being dead. So, and there are other tunes or other builds that have other different ways of solving that, but for me, I feel like, well, as a monk, this is like a part of what it is that I am and what I do, and so I would rather take advantage of that than cripple it. But again, I mean, it's, you emphasize one thing, and that means you have to recognize the fact that there's some things that are going to be taken away, and that means for me, I don't get as much in the way of DPS. My DPS isn't that great. Whirlwind helps, but I don't know if you've noticed this. When I'm fighting with the scroll in my hand, Whirlwind doesn't seem to take effect. Even when I have a Celestia in my other hand, it doesn't really take effect very much. So I'm kind of at a disadvantage, because that is something I've relied on to get those big numbers in. Another thing that I've mentioned was the Thunderstruck effect from my Pendant of the Stormweaver has made my DPS a lot lower than I would like it, and so I have to kind of go and reshuffle my equipment around. But even if I did that, again, like I said, even at my best, my DPS still isn't the greatest that it can be. As I mentioned, it takes me a while to beat down things that take other people a lot less time, but, I figure, hey, at least I can survive it long enough to be able to take her down in the first place. So I think for me that's a major plus. In my favor, it's like, yeah, it may take a while. I can probably just put it on auto attack and go have a snack or something, but I know I'll eventually get there, so... Yeah, so my build may be a bit strange, but it does fit the way I play. It fits the way it fits my outlook. So, and I tell people, well, you can have the best build you possibly. That's supposed to be supposedly this big super build, but if it doesn't fit your playstyle, and if you're not having fun, and especially if you're not having fun with it, then it's a bad build. And that's the biggest thing right there. If you're not having fun with your tune, it's a bad build. And I've seen people who go around on tunes that other people would consider gimp, and because they have fun with it and they know how to use it to their advantage, they have proven to be really awesome players, awesome people to run with. I would run with them again, and all because, they decided to go with something that fit what they liked and what they were about, that fit their personality. And that's really the most important part, because if you found something you can't really get into, then it doesn't matter how good or what's in your thing, you're not going to be very good at it. So yeah, when you're building this, I think the most important thing is if you gotta have fun with whatever it is you're playing. Otherwise, it's pointless. Yeah, it's definitely pointless otherwise. Because the whole point of this is a game, and it is to have fun. So if you're not doing that, then it's time to re-roll. And I didn't find any freaking scrolls.